What's up, collectors? Welcome back to Films by Color. Hope you're having a very Merry Christmas. We have got a ton of movies to get through in this video because today we are counting down my entire Christmas movie collection. Let's get into it. Alright, let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. This is going to be an entire movie collection video. I've not done a lot of these entire movie collection videos because they're very daunting and very intimidating. But maybe if this one goes well, we'll do some more videos like this. But today we're talking Christmas movies. We're going through every single Christmas movie in my collection. It's over 50 plus films, so we've got a lot to get through. I'm a big Christmas fan. I watch a lot of Christmas movies every year. Actually, every year from Black Friday to New Year's, I watch nothing but Christmas movies all throughout the month of December. I try to watch as many Christmas movies as I can. I have my favorites that I have to watch every year with the family, and then I also try to get to some new ones that I haven't seen each year. So I've collected quite a few Christmas movies over the years, and we're going to go through each one here. I've pulled them all down off of the shelf. You can see behind me there's a bunch of gaps back there, but we're just going to go through each one, relatively quickly. We won't spend too much time on each one, but I'll say a little bit about each one. And because this is Films by Color, we're of course going to go through them by color. So the first stack I have here to my right is the white stack. We're going to go through this entire stack. This is the largest stack. Interestingly, I guess most Christmas movies get white packaging. That's something I noticed. We've got a lot of different colors here, but most of them are actually white. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the biggest stack here. Starting off, of course, with a big classic that I grew up watching every single year with the family. I don't watch it as much these days. I imagine I'll watch it a little more when my kids are a little older, but they're not quite old enough for it yet. It is kind of a I guess a little raunchier, not too bad, but my kids are still very, very young. But it's Home Alone and Home Alone 2. This is the 2-pack on Blu-ray. I don't really need to say much about this. Everybody knows what Home Alone is. This isn't one that I need to watch every year, but I do like to pop it in every few years or so, and it gives me that nostalgic Christmas feelings from watching it with my family growing up. This is a really weird release. I think, is there a 4K of this yet? I don't have the 4K version yet. I just have this Blu-ray set, and they've released this a million times. This just happens to be the one I got, but it's just a single case with both movies inside there on 2 different discs. And then it also comes with a hat for some reason. Don't know why that is what they did, but that's what they did. And yeah, it's kind of a lame release, honestly, now that I'm looking at it, but it is nice that I have those films. Home Alone 1 and 2, obviously the first one is much better. The second one's basically just the same movie again, but you gotta have Home Alone in the collection. Next one in the stack here is a Bing Crosby classic, also starring Fred Astaire. It's Holiday Inn. This is the 75th anniversary edition. A very, very nice release. Don't know if it's going to pick up on camera, but there's like some glittery, embossed snow all throughout this part here, and very nice slipcover. So of course you've got the movie here, Holiday Inn, but you've also got the Broadway musical, another Blu-ray disc in there, and it even comes with the soundtrack here. You've got a CD with 12 songs on there. So that's a very nice release. Not my favorite Bing Crosby movie to watch around the holidays, but it is a classic, and that is where the original White Christmas song first appeared on screen. So that's a good one. You got to have that one. Next here is another classic that everybody knows. I actually have 2 versions of it because I had the Blu-ray version. It's A Christmas Story with a lovely like lenticular slip right there. But then just last year I upgraded to the 4K, and I think it is a very worthy upgrade. I think it looks great. I'm only going to watch it this way from now on, so I'm going to go ahead and sell this off somewhere. I don't know, maybe look for that on eBay soon. I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm going to hold on to the 4K release. This is a movie that I didn't love growing up. It was on every single Thanksgiving whenever we were over visiting with families, and I saw like bits and pieces of it, and I don't think I ever watched it all the way through, but it always kind of annoyed me, and I found the characters kind of annoying. But I have a new appreciation for it after seeing it with my wife the first time last year after we picked this up, and she had never seen it, and like I said, I had never seen it all the way through. So we watched it all the way through, and I do finally see the appeal. Still not one of my absolute favorite Christmas movies, but I think it's a really good one, and I think everyone should at least have it represented somehow in the collection. All right, next one here that just happens to have a white spine. These are in no particular order, especially not by quality, because this is Deck the Halls, which is just a terrible Christmas movie. Sorry if this is your favorite Christmas movie. I think it's pretty average. This is a comedy starring Matthew Broderick and Danny DeVito. It's kind of like a Planes, Trains, and Automobiles clone where Matthew Broderick's just this normal guy trying to live his life, and then Danny DeVito comes in and starts wrecking everything and just ruining his life for no reason. And then Matthew Broderick learns a lesson at the end about family. I don't know. It's not good, and I probably won't ever watch it, but it's Christmas, so it's in the collection. Next up, another goofy, silly comedy starring Tim Allen this time. This is Christmas with the Cranks. This is one that I used to watch a ton with my family growing up. I don't know what, for whatever reason, we used to watch, I guess Tim Allen's in a lot of Christmas movies, because we would watch the Santa Claus films every year, and then we would watch this every year. And it's got a Blu-ray now. I haven't opened it yet. I actually just picked this up this year because I'll probably watch it when my family comes over. Next up, we've got another classic holiday film, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Not a Christmas movie, but a Thanksgiving movie that everyone usually watches around this time of year, around the holidays. This is just the Blu-ray. I don't have the 4K that was released last year yet because I had just bought the Blu-ray right before the 4K came out, which always happens to me. But I do have the Blu-ray, and it looks pretty good. Maybe someday, eventually, I'll upgrade to the 4K, but I do have Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, a movie I came to late in life. I didn't grow up with this one, but I have now seen it a couple times, and it's really fun. It's really great. I like it a lot. And it absolutely has a Christmas-looking spine. It's the red and green text on the white spine, which, as you can see, all the ones we've looked at so far look pretty much exactly the same. And this one is no different. The next one is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Jim Carrey live-action version, directed by Ron Howard, 2001, I believe. This was a childhood staple for me. Everyone in my age group, I'm a 90s kid, everybody watched this one. We watched it in school. We watched it all the time. I'm not the biggest Jim Carrey fan, so I don't love it as much as I did when I was a kid. It doesn't hold up that great for me, but I still do enjoy it for the nostalgia, and I think it's really a really interesting production. I think the practical sets and all the practical effects on this, it's kind of the last vestige of that bygone era where we used to make everything practical. The fact that they did as much of Whoville as they did in these big giant physical sets on this is really cool. And that's a fun one that I do go back to. I haven't shown that one to the kids yet, so I haven't watched it in the last few years, but maybe when they get a little bit older, I'll finally show them the live action version, and then maybe I'll find a new appreciation for that through their eyes. Who knows? And then right after that, we've got another Grinch movie, the Illumination Grinch movie, which is just called The Grinch. And I've never seen this film. I'm not a big Illumination fan. My wife picked this up, I think. Yeah, I think she just grabbed this a couple years ago whenever it came out, so I don't know anything about that one. But we have it, and there it is. Another white slipcover with green text. But this is an amazing movie. This next one, Judy Garland in Meet Me in St. Louis, is one of the best movies of all time, or especially Christmas. I mean, it's not just a Christmas movie. It encompasses like the whole backside of the year. I think it starts around Halloween and goes all the way through Christmas, but it's just an amazing movie in general. One of the best musicals ever made, and I think it absolutely counts as a Christmas movie. You can watch it around Christmas time. I think it's a great time to watch this movie. This is where the song Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas comes from. It was first recorded in this movie by Judy Garland. If you haven't seen this film, I highly recommend you check it out. If you love musicals, if you love 40s films, if it does count as a Christmas movie, this is absolutely in my top 5 Christmas movies of all time. It's amazing. Check it out. Meet Me in St. Louis. Next one we have here is The Holiday, which is a rom-com from early 2000s, maybe mid-2000s, 2006. This is one that I hadn't seen before I met my wife, but it's one of her favorite movies to watch around the holidays, and she watches it every year, so I've watched it every year since I've been with her, and it's actually a pretty good rom-com. It's pretty fun. It's about two women, one from England and one from America, who switch places. They kind of have like an Airbnb situation where they switch homes for the holidays because they both want to get out of their situation. They're both in terrible relationships. And then they meet Jude Law and Jack Black. And Jack Black is probably my favorite part of this movie. He's delightful. He's super great. He's always great, but he's especially fun in this. He plays a film composer, and Cameron Diaz plays a trailer editor, and there's this other guy that they meet living out in California who's an old Hollywood, I think, producer or something, and there's some old Hollywood golden age references in there that I really like. I really appreciate that stuff. So that's always fun, and I don't know, it's just a fun, sweet, wholesome romance that also has some stuff about addiction and abusive relationships and stuff in there. I don't know. It's really great. It's a good watch. It's a great one to watch with the wife every year. And I always enjoy it more than I am expecting to every year. I always forget how much I enjoy it. So that's a great one. Next one is one that we have been watching also the last few years, every year. This is Christmas in Connecticut, which is another 40s movie, 1945. This is a straight up comedy. It's also a bit of a romance as well. It's about a woman who writes for a magazine. She writes all about like recipes and keeping the house and being a good mother and a good wife and all this stuff. But in reality, she doesn't know anything about any of that because she's single and she doesn't actually know how to do any of that. She can't cook. But the magazine is flying out a soldier to take a look around and meet with her and do a whole piece on her. So she's kind of panicking because she has no idea how to do any of this. She's a complete fraud. And it's just a situational comedy where it all takes place in this one big mansion out like on a farm, and they have to all these crazy shenanigans. They have to find a baby for her to have because she's supposed to have a baby, and they have to figure out how to make it look like she can cook with the chef character who's really funny. So I don't know. It's just a really fun, light comedy to watch every year. It's a classic. Everybody loves Christmas in Connecticut. Got to have that one in the collection. This is not a classic, and you don't really have to have this in the collection. This next one is Four Christmases, which is a Vince Vaughn, Reese Witherspoon rom-com. This is not a good rom-com. This isn't really good at all. We watch this every year for exactly one scene. There's one funny scene where they play Taboo as a family, and Vince Vaughn makes my wife laugh in that scene. So we have to watch it just for that one dumb scene. We both like Vince Vaughn, but yeah, that's not a great one. But it is Christmas, so it's in the collection. Then we have some boutique releases, specifically Criterion releases that take place around Christmas time. Some of these that I like to watch every year. This first one doesn't take place around Christmas time, but it is around winter time. It actually takes place on Black Friday right after Thanksgiving, so it's closer to a Thanksgiving movie. But we always watch it around the holiday season. It's The Day Trippers. We've watched this the last 3 or 4 years in a row. Wonderful, wonderful movie. If you haven't seen The Day Trippers, highly recommend you check it out. This is an all-timer of a Criterion movie for me. Really, really great movie. It's hilarious. It's also super heartbreaking. It's got it all. It's amazing. It's about a woman played by Hope Davis who suspects her husband of cheating on her, and she ends up telling her entire family, and they go running around the city. It takes place in New York City. It's called The Day Trippers. They're just running around all day trying to follow him and figure out what's going on. The family's hilarious. And it's got an incredible cast. Like I said, Hope Davis, Parker Posey, Liev Schreiber, Stanley Tucci. It's got a really great young cast. It takes place in the 90s. It's a very independent 90s film. If you like that kind of stuff, highly recommend checking out The Day Trippers. We have to watch it every year now, and we have not been disappointed. In fact, we like it better every time we watch it. So gotta watch that one every year. This next one is one that I haven't seen yet. It's been on my list for a few years now. I need to finally get around to it. Hopefully this will be the year, but it's Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, which is a film that takes place in World War II and stars David Bowie. That's about all I know about it. I know it's a war film about I believe a Japanese war camp. I think he's a prisoner of war. I don't know, man. I have not got around to seeing it yet, but I've heard it's really, really great. So I can't wait to check that one out. That's another Criterion film that takes place around Christmas time, so I'm told. I hope so. I hope it does. I hope I'm not telling you wrong, but I haven't seen it yet. But it has Christmas in the title, so I guess it counts. Next, we have one of my absolute favorite Christmas movies. This is a top 5 movie for me. Top 5 Christmas movie, and definitely one of my favorite films just in general. It's in the Criterion Eric Rohmer 6 Moral Tales set. It is called My Night at Maud's. It's my favorite of the 6 Moral Tales. It's my favorite Eric Rohmer movie. It's an incredible movie, and it takes place around Christmas time. It's the 3rd film in the 6 Moral Tales, and I think it's the best. I don't think it gets any better than that, although I love Claire's Knee and Love in the Afternoon and The Collector. All those are great, but my personal favorite is My Night at Maud's. It's about a young man who is in his early 30s, and he is trying to fall in love, and he is also wrestling with his Catholic faith and how he's going to continue with that. He has like a strict moral code that he sticks to, but he meets up with an old friend who takes him back to his friend's house, who happens to meet Maud, the woman here, and then the night goes on. His friend decides to leave. He ends up spending the night with this woman and is morals are challenged and he comes away with learning more about himself. I don't know. It's a really hard movie to describe. It's basically just people sitting in a room having conversation, like all of Eric Rohmer's films. So if you don't like that, you might not like it. I love Eric Rohmer's stuff, and this one happens to be my favorite. And I'm going to try to watch that every year now. I've only seen it twice, but I liked it even better the second time. One of my favorite movies, and absolutely one of my favorite Christmas movies. And then we've just got two left here in the white section, and these are both classics. These are both top 10 movies for me, of course. First, we've got Miracle on 34th Street, the 1947 version. This is the 70th anniversary Blu-ray edition that has a nice slipcase that slides out from the side. If you haven't seen this film, what are you doing, man? This is one of the best Christmas movies ever and one of the best Santa Clauses on screen. Just amazing movie. Miracle on 34th Street. You gotta see it if you haven't seen it yet. Gotta have it in the Christmas collection. And then, of course, the other big one is It's a Wonderful Life, my absolute #1 top favorite Christmas movie of all time. Can't beat it. I don't think anyone ever will. We watch this one every single year. It's a Wonderful Life is it's my favorite Christmas movie. It might be my favorite movie of all time. Just ever. I love this movie. Watch it every year, like it better every single time. Cannot believe I don't have the 4K yet. I need to get the 4K version of this. I don't have it. There's a really cool slipcover for the 4K. There's also a really cool steelbook, beautiful looking steelbook for the 4K. I'm not usually a big steelbook guy, but the 4K steelbook for this movie looks incredible. I've got to get a better version of it, but for now, this is what I've got. This is just a standard Blu-ray edition that kind of looks like a Christmas ornament there with the little die cut in the slipcover. Great movie. Gotta watch it in black and white. Gotta watch the original version, but gotta watch it. Any way you want to watch it, just watch it, because it's the best. And that is the entire white section of the Christmas movie collection. So we are done with that. We're gonna move right on to the next section on the shelves, which is red section, which there are quite a few because it is Christmas. Let's jump into the reds. All right, here we are. Got a pretty decent stack of reds to get through. So let's start right here. Classic. You got to have Charlie Brown in the collection. This is the Peanuts Holiday Collection, so it includes not just Merry Christmas Charlie Brown, but also the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown and the Thanksgiving one. There's actually a lot of goodies in here. This is the 4K collection that they released last year, which is super nice. Love the slip on this. It's got a slip case, slides out from the side, and there's tons of stuff in here. So not only do you get the three main holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Halloween on 4K, but you also get all three of them on Blu-ray, and all three discs each come with two other Charlie Brown specials or episodes, and then each one comes with a featurette. So you get a bunch of stuff on here specifically for Christmas. On the Christmas disc, you get a Charlie Brown Christmas, and you get It's Christmas Time Again Charlie Brown, which is actually pretty good. I watched that for the first time this year, and it's actually surprisingly funny. And then you get It's Flash Beagle, so another episode of Charlie Brown, which is crazy because that's like the only episode of Charlie Brown I had as a kid was It's Flash Beagle. I had it on a VHS tape as a kid, so I was shocked to watch that this year with the kids and have all those memories come back to me. But of course, you got to watch the main Christmas one every year, and I know a lot of people watch the Great Pumpkin one too. I didn't grow up with that one, but I did grow up with the Christmas one, so I have to watch that every year, and the 4K transfers look incredible. Then we've got another classic that we absolutely have to watch every year. Me and my wife watch this one every single year without fail. It's White Christmas. This is the Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye movie that some people consider a remake of Holiday Inn. I think it's plenty different. I don't think it's a remake, but it does use the White Christmas song again in this one, and I think the soundtrack overall is really, really good in this one. I actually like this one a lot more. This is another beautiful release that has the same kind of glossy, glittery snow effect that I don't know if you're going to be able to see on camera, but you can kind of see it if I do that. And this one also includes the CD, the soundtrack right there. This is a 3-disc set. It's got a Blu-ray and 2 DVDs plus the CD, so I guess it's technically 4. Great release of a great Christmas classic that we have to watch every year. White Christmas. And the next one we have here is a much more recent film. This just came out a couple years ago. I absolutely love this movie. It was one of my favorite films of that year, and I would argue it is a Christmas movie. It's a classic adaptation of a classic poem about a Christmas game. It's The Green Knight, A24 film starring Dev Patel, directed by David Lowery, I believe, and I absolutely love this movie. Not a traditional Christmas movie, not a conventional Christmas movie, and not one that I would watch every single year, but I definitely want to come back to this one every couple of years because I really, really like that movie. This is the 4K version, just the slipcover version of The Green Knight, but I don't need this anymore because I bought the boutique version that A24 themselves put out, which we'll get to in a minute here. So I'll throw this one over here. That's another one that has to go into the sell pile. Next up, we've got the Santa Claus trilogy. Tim Allen, here we go. This is a nice, I actually really like this box set. It just has all 3 films in there, but and I don't know. I don't love the sequels to this. The third one is absolutely terrible. I did like the second one a lot growing up, but it doesn't hold up for me as much as an adult. But the first one's still fine. It's a fine, fun, you know, throw on once a year. It's short. It's a fun watch with the family. And me and Grace enjoy watching that one. It's another one that I grew up with watching with the family, so I have a soft spot for that and some nostalgia associated with that one. But this is a lovely box set that this came in. I got this from eBay actually, secondhand this year. I finally bought these this year. I didn't own these until very recently. They used to be on Disney Plus. I don't pay for Disney Plus, so we did have to get this, and this was only like, I don't even know, like $12 maybe less than that. And it came in like perfect condition. This person kept this in such good condition. So I'm happy about that. It's a nice box set, and I didn't pay too much for it. So the Santa Claus trilogy, you got to at least watch the first one maybe not every year, but occasionally it's great to pop in the first one. Next, we've got another Christmas classic. This story is going to come up a lot in this video. This is the 1938 adaptation of A Christmas Carol, which is one of my favorite versions. Love, especially the visuals on this version, look really, really good. Black and white film, the way they handle the double exposure for the ghost, especially the ghost of Christmas Future, looks really, really cool and iconic in this version. And the other big reason to get this Blu-ray specifically of this release is it includes the classic Oscar-nominated cartoon Peace on Earth. So there's an animated short called Peace on Earth that came out in 1939 that was nominated for Best Animated Short that year, and it's amazing. It's really, really good, and you got to watch it every single year. It's just 9 minutes, but it's a beautiful short about war, and it's just a really, really great Christmas short that you got to watch every year. And I only recently found out about it a few years ago, and when I found out that this Blu-ray had it on there and I already like this version of the film, it was a no-brainer. You got to pick this one up. 2 Christmas classics on 1 disc, just a very simple bare bones release, but you gotta have it in the Christmas collection. Next up is The Man Who Came to Dinner, which is another classic Christmas movie that I was late to the party to. We just watched this for the first time this year and really enjoyed it. It's kind of similar to Christmas in Connecticut, where it's all about this family. This guy's coming over to have Christmas with this family. He's kind of an unwanted guest. He kind of like falls down their front steps and threatens to sue them and makes them take care of him. He's kind of a huge jerk. Like, he's super sarcastic and super rude, and he's pretty funny. It's funny to watch. It would not be funny to have him in your house, but he's just terrible to this family. And then he kind of, you know, brings them together a little bit. I don't know, but it's kind of like Christmas in Connecticut because it all takes place in one house. It's another comedy that takes place over Christmas time, but the sensibilities are very different. The sense of humors are very different. So I don't think it's a given that if you like Christmas in Connecticut, you'll love this, but I liked both of them, and I think they're both great comedies to watch around Christmas time. And yeah, that will be one that we add into the rotation of our Christmas viewing in December because it's a great one. And then the last red one here is actually a DVD box set that I no longer need. I can get rid of this one. This was one of the Rankin and Bass box sets that I had to have before they released the Blu-ray box set, which they just released this year and I did pick up and we'll talk about in a minute. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, this collects some of the less popular ones. There's 10 holiday favorites on here, not the big ones, some of the more obscure ones. So I did have to have that before. Now I've got them all on Blu-ray, so I don't need the set anymore, so I can add that to the sell pile as well. With that, let's go ahead and jump to the yellow section because it's real small. There's only 2 and we'll knock them out real quick. This first one is called Cash on Demand, and I have still not seen this one, but I am going to watch it this year. This is on the list to get through this year. This is actually a heist film that takes place around Christmas time, and it has a lovely release here from Indicator, which is very cool. I don't have too many releases from Indicator. I mostly have box sets from them, but I had to grab this one when I found out that it takes place around Christmas time and is considered somewhat a Christmas movie. I still want to watch that one. Haven't got to it yet, but I will watch that this year. And I just remembered, now that I'm talking about Indicator, that I forgot to grab Remember the Night off the shelf, which is a beautiful release that Indicator put out last year. This is one of their limited edition sets. I already did a full video on this, so I won't talk too much about it, but this is a classic Christmas movie. Another Barbara Stanwyck movie. She was the queen of Christmas movies for a while. She has Christmas in Connecticut and Remember the Night, and I think she's also in Meet John Doe, which is technically a Christmas movie as well, but this is a beautiful release. It's got the standard Indicator case with the reversible artwork that is different from the outside, and then it comes with a poster, and then it also comes with a very thick booklet on the film. Really great classic Christmas movie. You gotta have Remember the Night in the collection, and this is just the definitive way to pick it up. This is such a nice release that Indicator put out, so I highly recommend. One of my favorite Christmas releases. I'd love to see some of my other favorites like White Christmas or like It's a Wonderful Like get releases like this, because this is just such a beautiful release. So happy with that one. So that's Remember the Night and Cash on Demand, 2 boutique label releases. And then we've got one more boutique release here from A24 that I just mentioned. This is the definitive 4K version that they put out for The Green Knight. It's got this incredible oversized slipcase that's got this really nice texture on it. Looks like an old Bible or something, and it's got the script text right there. Slides out to this beautiful yellow digibook actually, and it opens up and there's the disc right there, and then you've got tons and tons of pages with I think parts of the script in here with director notes on the side and some incredible artwork. This is one of my favorite releases I picked up this year. So happy with it, and like I said, just one of my favorite movies now. Really like that movie, and such a perfect release for it. So happy that I got that, and I will be selling my standard 4K hopefully soon. All right, keeping things rolling. We're moving right on to the green section here, and we just have a few, but it makes sense that there would be some green releases. Not as many green releases as I would think for Christmas movies. I think there should be more, but we've got the classic Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas animated short, the Ultimate Edition, and this has got a beautiful cover with that same kind of glittery texture on the front there. This is a classic. You got to watch this every year. I've actually watched this several times this year with the kids. They like this one. We've watched it a bunch. This is the only Grinch I've shown them so far, trying to keep them pure with their Grinch, but eventually I'll show them the live action one, but we're sticking with this one for now. This is a great Christmas classic. I didn't grow up with this one, so I'm glad I have rediscovered it later in life through my kids, because it's really fun. It's a nice, quick, breezy watch that you can watch several times in the holiday season. Next up, we've got the original Christmas classics, the Blu-ray box set that has 2 different discs in there. And now you might say, why are you holding on to this? You don't need this. You have it on 4K. I do have the 4K set, which we haven't got to yet, but I have to hold on to this because this includes Frosty Returns. You can see right down there. So one of the discs in here, the disc that has Frosty and Rudolph also has Frosty Returns. That's not a Rankin and Bass movie, so it's not included in the big Blu-ray box set that they just released. That's a 90s sequel that came out like way after the fact. And yeah, so if I want to watch Frosty Returns and have that for the kids to watch, I gotta hold on to this set. So hold on to this set if you guys have it. Don't throw it away as soon as you get the 4K. And then kind of a similar story with this one. This is another DVD set that they released that has a lot of the obscure Rankin and Bass stuff on it, but it also includes A Miser Brothers Christmas, which was a movie that came out, I think, way later, like in 2008, that has no connection to Rankin and Bass other than it's based on A Year Without a Santa Claus. I don't know if I'm going to hold on to this or not. I've never seen that. You guys let me know in the comments. Is A Miser Brothers Christmas any good? Do I need to hold on to this set just for that one release? Or can I go ahead and just sell it off or give it away? I'm not sure. Maybe I'll finally have to watch that this year and see if it's worth it. But that's why I originally had this, was to keep all the Rankin and Bass stuff together. But now that I have that Blu-ray set, I don't need this one anymore except for that one movie. So we'll see if I hold on to that one or not. That's it, just 3 green ones. We're gonna move right along to the blue section. And here it is. You might not expect it, but the biggest stack after white is blue. It's not red, it's not green. There's a ton of Christmas movies that are packaged in blue packaging. I guess it makes sense because they're Blu-rays, but let's go ahead and jump into this stack. First up, we've got Love Actually on Blu-ray. This is one of my wife's favorite Christmas movies. We have to watch it every single year. And this is a really funky, weird release that has a Blu-ray in it, but it also has a little ornament, a really ugly looking ornament that's just been sitting in the box ever since we bought it. We haven't upgraded this one. I know a 4K came out for this year, but we didn't pick it up. I don't know if we will or not. We might be fine with the Blu-ray on this one. The 4K doesn't really have any bells or whistles or even a nice case. It's just standard jewel case. And I kind of like how this one looks on the shelf, even though it's kind of pointless to have an ornament in there, but at least you get a little deluxe looking case on the shelf, which looks nice. Everybody knows what Love Actually is. I don't need to say anything about that one. Some people love it, some people hate it, but it's a staple to watch around the holidays. At least it is in our house. Next, we've got another adaptation of Christmas Carol. This is the George C. Scott version from the 80s. What is this? 1984. Another great rendition of A Christmas Carol. I know this is a lot of people's favorite version. That's not my favorite version, but it is really good. And I like to watch, what I like to do is I like to watch at least one version of A Christmas Carol every year. I don't watch every version that I have, but I like to at least get one in, so I try to own as many versions as I can, and that is a really good one. Next is a film that I'm not really a big fan of, but my wife loves this movie and she has to watch it every year. She already owned this before I even met her. This is the Steelbook version that she had of Elf. It's a pretty nice Steelbook, gotta say. Very good looking Steelbook. I know there is a 4K version of this, and there's been some other even nicer versions that have been released recently, but this is the version we have, and if you're anyone but me, you got to have this in your yearly Christmas watch through. Everybody loves Elf. Next, we've got The Snowman, which is a wonderful animated movie from the 80s, 1982, narrated by David Bowie. We've already talked about David Bowie in this video, but it's The Snowman. If you haven't seen this, based on a children's book with an incredible animation style. It looks gorgeous. It's shot and it kind of looks like it's, I'm assuming a similar art style to the book. I haven't read the book, but it looks kind of like it's drawn in crayon or colored pencil, and the animation is really fluid and smooth and kind of goes in like 3 dimensions. There's like the iconic flying scene and with the iconic song from this that everybody knows, where they're flying through the sky and it kind of changes perspective as they're flying into 3D. It looks amazing. If you're not watching The Snowman every year for Christmas, you're missing out, because it's one of the best animated shorts of all time. Classic, just a simple short about a boy who makes a snowman and then they become friends and then they go on an adventure, and it's really good. I actually found this during the Criterion sale this year. During my November Criterion sale, I was looking in the media section through all the Criterions, and I saw that they had this for just $10. And I was like, oh man, it's got like a slipcover and everything. It's just a DVD. I don't think there's a US Blu-ray release of this, but I would like to get this on Blu-ray at some point because it looks really good. But the DVD is fine for now, and that is one that I watch with the kids every year. Next, we've got another adaptation of A Christmas Carol, maybe the definitive adaptation. This is the 1951 version starring Alistair Sim, maybe the best Scrooge of all time. There he is. It's a really ugly looking release. I don't love the release, but it's a great movie. Look at that iconic look. Those eyes are so expressive. Alistair Sim kills it as Scrooge, and this is a lovely release. It comes with this. Look at this. I love when they used to do this. It's got a little card with all the chapters on it. Very cool. Classy release. It's got the Blu-ray and the DVD. This is from a really small company that I have never heard of called WCL Entertainment. They didn't put together a great cover art for it. Look at the spine. It's kind of a mess, but it's a really great version of A Christmas Carol. Maybe my favorite version of A Christmas Carol. It's also just called Scrooge, I think. I think this one just goes by the title Scrooge 1951, but here it's called A Christmas Carol on the cover. Great movie, gotta have it in the collection. Speaking of movies that you have to have in the collection, definitive Christmas movie here from the 90s, Jingle All the Way, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad. This is this was a Martinez family staple growing up. Grace didn't grow up with this movie, so she doesn't watch it with me every year, but my family growing up, we watched this every single year. Absolutely bananas, bonkers, goofy, over the top. Not a great movie, but a really fun movie that I could quote backwards and forwards. I have a friend who has been on the channel, Evan, who we still quote this movie to this day to each other. We used to quote it all day long in school. It's great. Some people love it. Some people hate it. I love it, and I have to watch it every year. Even if Grace won't watch it with me, I have to watch it at some point, either with the family or just by myself. But yeah, Jingle All the Way. Tell your friends. It's great. Here's one that I've never seen, and I picked this up for just a few bucks, I think last year. It's Dudley Moore, Santa Claus the Movie. I've not heard great things about this one, and that's probably why I still haven't watched it. But yeah, there it is, Santa Claus the movie. I will get to it eventually. I think it's maybe one you can show kids, so maybe I should get around to watching it and see if I want to show it to the kids. But yeah, 1985. Movie about Santa Claus. Hopefully that's fun. And then here we go. This is the definitive version of these classics. This is the classic Christmas special collection. There we go. We've got Rudolph, Frosty, and Santa Claus is Coming to Town. This is the three big ones, the three heavy hitters. But like I said, it does not include Frosty Returns, which is on this set, which is why I have to keep both of these. But I will watch them in the 4K transfers that they have on this set because they look absolutely incredible, especially Rudolph and Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Frosty, you can't really make that look much better. It's very simple 2D animation, but the stop motion stuff looks incredible. I don't think we're ever going to get 4K versions of the rest of these, but at least having 4K versions for Rudolph and Santa Claus is Coming to Town is a must. Like the Charlie Brown set, it comes both with the 3 4Ks and then the 3 Blu-rays as well. If you don't have a 4K player in every room of your house, I guess. I don't know why they do that, but I'm always going to watch the 4K versions. There you go. And then also alongside that, we've got the Blu-ray set. This is all 18 holiday favorites, so it does include these 3 as well. I didn't do a full video on this because I just didn't get time, but this is an awesome set. It's got the slipcase. It's got this great 5-disc jewel case, which has all of the shorts on there. And then what a really nice touch that they added was this little booklet that it comes with. And it has an introduction and then write-ups on every single film in release order. So they're in chronological order, and they've got the air date on there, and they've got little write-up on each one. And this set has been great. I'm so happy I went ahead and bit the bullet and picked this up, even though it was pretty pricey, but I'm glad I did because my kids and I have been watching through this entire set this year. We're almost done with it. We've watched pretty much the majority. I think there's like 3 or 4 left that we have to get to, but we've been watching through all those. And of course, we started with these 3 in the 4K. The sets look great together. Look great on the shelf. So now I've got my entire Rankin and Bass collection right here, which is great. You got to have those. Those are definitive must-have in any Christmas collection. So there you go, Blu-ray and 4K releases of those. Next up, we've got another Christmas comedy that I actually like probably more than anyone else. This is one that I watched a ton growing up, very nostalgic for me, and still makes me laugh to this day. It is Paul Giamatti and Vince Vaughn in Fred Claus. Vince Vaughn plays Santa Claus's brother. Paul Giamatti plays Santa Claus, and I think is a delightful Santa Claus, one of my favorite Santa Clauses. Just those two guys, Vince Vaughn and Paul Giamatti together, riffing is always hilarious. But I feel like people get this movie wrong. I feel like people take it too seriously and think it's like super cheesy and over the top and trying to be serious. I think it's absolutely trying to be funny. It's one of those comedies where the actors are like playing everything completely straight. You've got Paul Giamatti and Kevin Spacey, like these two incredible actors, being so incredibly serious, talking about Kevin Spacey being four-eyed Clyde in elementary school, and he had to wear his Superman cape that he got from Santa Claus to have the courage to face the bullies. It's super over the top, but they play it so straight. The actors are playing it so straight that I think it's hilarious. And I don't think I'm laughing at it. I think I'm laughing with it. I think it's supposed to be funny, and I think they're doing that on purpose, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm liking this movie ironically, maybe not. I don't care if I'm liking it ironically or unironically. I just enjoy it, and it's funny, and I have to watch it every year. That's one I grew up with my brothers watching, and I will continue to watch it, so hate me if you want to, but I like Fred Claus, and I think it's a good time every year. Next, we've got Arthur Christmas, which is an Aardman Studios production, who you know from Chicken Run and Wallace and Gromit, Shaun the Sheep, all that good stuff. And this is a great one, too. I didn't hear much about this one when it came out. This is one I came to several years after the fact, but it's one that we watch with the kids every year. It's very fun. If you like that kind of Aardman British-style humor, I think you'll appreciate it. It's really cool to see a Santa Claus movie that's from the British tradition, that's more like Father Christmas. They have slightly different Santa Claus traditions than we do in the US, so that's really fun. It's more like a monarchy here, where it's like a family tradition, where you've got the original Santa Claus here, and then his son is the main Santa Claus, and then he's got two sons that are like competing, not really competing, but one of them wants to be the new Santa Claus, but he's not the right person for the job. I won't give too much away, but I don't know, it's really fun family dynamic, interesting version of a Santa Claus story that I think is a lot of fun. It takes place all on Christmas Eve night. It's just kind of a fun adventure that they go on. I recommend Arthur Christmas. If you haven't seen it and you got kids, definitely check that one out. And it's got a nice little slipcover here. Mine's got some residue from the dang sticker on it that I bought this from eBay and that was already on there, but the rest of the slipcover looks really nice, and yeah, that's a great one. This next one here is a bit of an oddity. It's from a company called Thunderbean, which I've talked about before on this channel. Great company, puts out a lot of lost and like forgotten, really old animated shorts that from like the 20s and 30s that you can't get anywhere else, and they put these like, they're almost feel homemade Blu-rays out, but you can get them from their website. You can also get them from Amazon. This one's called Yuletide Flickers, Santa's Big Animated Picture Show. It says festive novelties, pantomimes, animations, merry jingles, and carols, and other rarities of 1920 to 1955. So this is just a smorgasbord of classic Christmas goodies from a long time ago. Just a bunch of really fun stuff that you would never see anywhere else. So I'm really happy that Thunderbean put this out. It's kind of put together like a presentation where it kind of goes through all the different sections here with the Castle Films classics, Claus tunes, merry jingles, choir sing-alongs, and the festive novelties of the 1920s. And then it ends with a finale, which has several classic Christmas cartoons: The Shanty Where Santa Claus Lives from 1933, The Snowman from 1931, and Christmas Night from 1935. These releases are always really well done. They come with a Blu-ray and a DVD inside there, and they also come with a little booklet that has a write-up on each of the sections and each of the animated shorts. Very well done. I really love Thunderbean. I like to support them when I can. They put out some really great stuff. I have 3 or 4 of their shorts collections now, and I want to get as many more as I can, so hopefully I can pick up some more of those in the future. But that's a fun watch to try to get a sense of what people were watching for Christmas between the 20s and the 50s. And then we've got another classic here that I didn't grow up with like everybody else did, but I've seen it now the last couple of years, and I think it's really good. It's The Nightmare Before Christmas. This is the Blu-ray, which I unfortunately just picked up from the Disney Movie Club. This is the DMC exclusive glow-in-the-dark cover that they released with Frankenweenie. So I have both of those, but I bought it just last year, right before they released the 4K this year, which is a bummer because I would like this on 4K because I'm sure it looks awesome. Stop motion looks really good on 4K, but I'm not going to double dip right now. Maybe eventually I'll get the 4K edition, but the Blu-ray is fine for me for now. I've watched this, like I said, the last couple years with the kids, and it's a great movie to watch in between Halloween, like into the holiday season, right as you're getting into Christmas. This kind of kicks off our Christmas movie watching, so gotta have that one in the collection. And a couple more animated movies that you gotta watch with the kids every year. This is the Zemeckis Polar Express film, which I like more than... I know a lot of people hate this movie. It's not my favorite or anything, but I think it's actually... This is, of all the films that Zemeckis has been obsessed with over the years, I think this one gets more of a pass from me. I know the animation kind of freaks people out and it's too uncanny valley. This one works for me because it's kind of replicating that art style of that artist, and I can't remember that artist's name, but he's done a ton of books. He did Jumanji and Zathura. My kids have a ton of his books in the playroom. But yeah, it kind of looks similar enough to that art style for me that I can get into it with this film in a way that I can't with some of the other ones like Mars Needs Moms. But yeah, I like the Polar Express. If nothing else, it has an incredible score. What is it with Christmas movies having such good scores? It's like even the ones that I don't like I said, I don't like Elf. The score is amazing. Home Alone, iconic score. The Polar Express has a really good score. The Holiday, which we talked about earlier, also has a really good Christmas score. Even Love Actually has a pretty good score. I don't know. Maybe it's just really easy to write Christmas scores, but that's the Polar Express. Showed that one to the kids for the first time this year, actually, and they enjoyed it. And speaking of Zemeckis, you also have his version of A Christmas Carol, which is a surprisingly good adaptation. I know a lot of people turned on this when it came out, but it's a pretty good adaptation. It's got some Disney like flying chase scenes that they got to get in there because you got to have the action scenes, which I don't think we need. But as far as the adaptation is pretty good. Like I said, I'm not a huge Jim Carrey fan, but I think he actually does pretty good with the motion capture and the performance of Scrooge. I think he's surprisingly subdued for most of it. And yeah, I actually enjoy that version of Christmas Carol. I think it's pretty good. I know it gets a lot of hate. Maybe I'm going to get a lot of hate for saying that, but I think it's pretty good. And the last one here in the blue section is another classic film. No, it's not. It's not a classic film, but it is, it's in my heart. It's a classic. It is Ernest Saves Christmas. I grew up with the Ernest movies. We watched them a lot in my house growing up, and I think this is my favorite of the Ernest movies. This is the one I watch every year. Gotta watch it. Another one that Grace did not grow up with at all and has no idea why I like it, but I love it. I showed it to my kids for the first time this year, and they also loved it. What's not to love? It's a Christmas movie. It's an Ernest movie. And Douglas Seal is actually a surprisingly good Santa. I think he's a really good Santa. And Jim Varney is just a national treasure. So Ernest Saves Christmas, gotta watch that one every year. No Blu-ray still. We still don't have a Blu-ray for this movie, which is a crime. So you gotta watch the old DVD, which sucks because this, I believe, is a widescreen DVD, and it kind of chops off lots of the screen. So I think the best way to watch it is probably still on Disney Plus, which I hate because I don't like supporting streaming services, and I don't have Disney Plus. But I don't know. I might have to do it just for Ernest because it's a classic. You gotta watch it. Ernest Saves Christmas, man. And finally, we've got one more stack here. We're into the black section at the bottom of the shelves. Got to get through these last ones, and I got to wrap this video up because I am losing my voice. This video's gone on way longer than I thought it was going to, but I got to get through a lot of films. And right on the top of the stack, we've got some Criterion films that fit into that kind of Christmassy category. You can count them if you want to. You don't have to, but this one takes place around Christmas time. I think it actually goes through Christmas and up through New Year's, so maybe you can watch this in that week after Christmas, between New Year's. This is a fun one to watch. I like to go back to this one. This is Kronos, one of my favorite Guillermo del Toro movies. Such a beautiful movie about parenthood and mortality. Really, really cool twist on vampires that I had never seen until a couple years ago. The first time I watched this one. Not super Christmassy, not really a Christmas movie, but it does take place around that time, and it's a good excuse to watch it. If you want to watch it and you're in the mood, watch it around the holidays. Next is another movie that takes place around the holidays and mentions Christmas a lot. I actually watched this for the first time this year. It just came out this month. It's Blast of Silence, which is a film noir that takes place around Christmas time and has a lot to do with Christmas time. Criterion just put out a beautiful release for this. The artwork is incredible. It's done by, I think, a comic book artist, and there's also some panels of the graphic novel inserted into there, as well as the wonderful booklet. I've already done a video about this release. It's great. Highly recommend it. Very, very depressing film, as most all noirs are, so it doesn't really align with the ideals of Christmas, but I think that's what makes it a Christmas movie, is because it's the antithesis of a Christmas movie. That's the whole point of it, and it's great, and I highly recommend it. Then we're getting to some real classics here. This is Warner Archive Collection, Shop Around the Corner. Top 3 favorite Christmas movies for me. It doesn't get any better than this, man. It's A Wonderful Life, My Night at Maud's, and Shop Around the Corner. This is one I've watched every year for the last 4 years in a row, and I don't think I'm ever going to go another Christmas without watching it. It's amazing. It's another Jimmy Stewart film. He is the king of Christmas movies. If you haven't seen Shop Around the Corner, what are you doing? Go watch this movie. It is an Ernst Lubitsch film. Ernst Lubitsch can do no wrong. I've been watching a lot of his stuff recently. Grace and I have been watching through his work, and this is one of my favorites. I wish someday, I hope this gets some kind of boutique treatment, like from Criterion or maybe Kino. Maybe Kino could do this, because that would be amazing. I would love it. Maybe I need to do a video. It's too late now this year, but someday I'm going to do a top 10 Christmas movies that need Criterion releases, because Shop Around the Corner is up there. It's amazing. Some other Warner Archive collections here. We've got Holiday Affair, which is another classic Christmas movie from 1949. Great movie. This is maybe the best example of a love triangle I've ever seen in a film. Huh? How's that for a tease? Holiday Affair, it is a film about a woman who is, I don't know if she's engaged. I think she's just, maybe she's engaged. I don't know. But then she meets this other guy, and he's surprisingly likable. She's surprisingly likable throughout the film. Even the boyfriend who she's already with is super likable. I've never seen a love triangle where everybody was so thoughtful and reasonable and likable, and they're just trying to figure things out. They don't throw anybody under the bus. They all remain very likable throughout the entire runtime, and I don't know, I found it delightful. It was very refreshing, the fact that we told such a good love story, romance, all the way back in 1949, and it happens to be a Christmas movie. So that one was a surprise, and I highly recommend Holiday Affair. And then we have It Happened on Fifth Avenue, which is another black and white Christmas film, also from 1947. 1947 was a big year for Christmas movies, and this is another great one. This is about, there's kind of this rich man who has this big, huge house, and he goes out of town for Christmas to stay in one of his other houses, and this homeless man kind of just moves into his house, and then one thing leads to another. He starts letting other people in, and then there's this entire group of people living in this house while the owner is out, and it's just like a nice little family that kind of starts forming in this house, and we get to know all the characters, and it's really fun. It's another really fun one that just kind of takes place all in one house. Very low stakes, light, sweet little fun film, and highly recommend. It happened on Fifth Avenue. Next one is Scrooge. This is another one that just got a 4K this year that I haven't upgraded. I don't know if I will. This is not really my cup of tea. I didn't love this one. I've only seen it once. Maybe it'll grow on me, but I do collect Christmas carols adaptations, so this is another one of those, so I had to have it in the collection. And another one that just came out a couple years ago. This is another rom-com that my wife really liked. I think she really enjoyed this one. This is a recent one starring Emilia Clarke and Henry Golding, and it also stars Emma Thompson from Love Actually, and I think she like helped produce this or write this or something, somehow got this movie made. It also stars Michelle Yeoh a couple years ago, but yeah, this is just like a fun, light, I don't know if it's fun, but it's a little sweet rom-com that is easy to pop in. It does have a lot of stuff about like depression and anxiety and mental illness and stuff going on, so it's not, I shouldn't call it light, but it is a comedy, it is a rom-com. It's kind of a darker, raunchier rom-com called Last Christmas. Maybe it'd help if I said the title. Last Christmas. And it came out a couple years ago. I got that one for my wife because she enjoyed that one. Now we're getting to some really good stuff here. This is an incredible movie. I've only seen it once. I really wish I had time to rewatch it this year because I watched it last year for the first time and I loved it. It's The Lion in Winter. If you haven't seen The Lion in Winter, very, very cool, unconventional Christmas movie starring an older Katharine Hepburn, who we love in this household. We always love Katharine Hepburn. She's amazing in this movie. Also stars Peter O'Toole. Is that who that is? Yes, Peter O'Toole, Lawrence of Arabia. Great, great movie. This is a Kino Lorber release. Just a very simple, bare bones Kino Lorber release, but the film itself is incredible. 1968 color film, beautiful looking color film. It's like a medieval, they're like medieval royalty, and it's kind of like this Game of Thrones thing where it's like this family it's like a perfect Christmas movie because they're like this family that is so wicked and evil and mean to each other, and they are trying to fight for the throne. I think it's like Katharine Hepburn, Peter O'Toole, and their 3 sons, maybe? Like I said, I've only seen it once, but it kind of blew me away. Incredible movie, Lion in Winter. You got to check it out. It's like the classic tale of getting together with your family at Christmas, but the stakes are huge because there's like kingdoms and nations in the balance, and they're all like, and their lives, they're all like trying to kill each other. It's great. I love it. Lion in Winter, one of my all-time favorites. That's got to be a top 10 Christmas movie at this point, even after only seeing it once. Speaking of classics, these are some incredible Billy Wilder films coming up. Not the most Christmassy films. I know people will probably argue with me calling these Christmas movies, but they do take place around Christmas time. And especially this one, I would argue is a Christmas movie. It's The Apartment, the new 4K release from Kino Lorber, which looks incredible. This movie goes through Christmas and all the way up through New Year's. I think it ends on New Year's, but I think thematically what the movie's about is very much in line with Christmas, and it's just such a good movie. You got Jack Lemmon in this. The Apartment is amazing. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. And then we've got another Billy Wilder movie, another 4K from Kino Lorber. They also released Stalag 17 this year, which is a comedy about prisoners of war in like a German war camp, but it's surprisingly really, really funny and endearing and charming. And it all takes place at Christmas time. They're celebrating Christmas inside the war camp. Billy Wilder made some incredible movies, and especially some incredible movies that take place around Christmas time. So I can't recommend enough The Apartment and Stalag 17, especially these gorgeous 4K releases from Kino Lorber. They look great on the shelf. They look great together. And I'm glad I finally added this one. So I've seen The Apartment a couple of years ago, and then Stalag 17 I just watched this year for the first time, and I will be adding it to the list because I want to watch that again soon, and I want to show Grace because she didn't get to watch it with me, and I think she'll love that movie too. So there you go. You've got The Apartment and Stalag 17. Billy Wilder knew how to make a movie, and he made some really, really great Christmas movies. Both of those are incredible. And the last one here, which is probably no one was expecting to end on, I wasn't expecting to end on this, but that's just how it worked out. It is a Satoshi Kon film called Tokyo Godfathers, which is an amazing movie. Really, really good movie. I've only only seen it once, but we absolutely loved it when we watched it. This is based on a book called Three Godfathers, which has been adapted 5 times in film, I think. I think this was the 5th adaptation. It was adapted by John Ford way back in the day, I think as a silent film version, and I think that one is completely lost at this point. We don't have that anymore, which is super sad, but he remade it later on the anniversary of one of the actors' death from the first version, and he made it with John Wayne and 2 other gentlemen that I can't remember at the moment, but he has a sound version starring John Wayne that is called Three Godfathers, and it's about 3 just kind of cowboys. It's like a Western, and they find a baby together, and they just kind of try to go on a quest to return it back to its owner, and that's exactly what this is about. So this is adapting the same source material as that one, which is also a Christmas movie, which I need to get my hands on. I don't think there's a Blu-ray. I think there's only a DVD, so I need to find Three Godfathers. That's something I'm going to be adding to the collection. There's a ton more stuff I need to add to the collection, so this list will continue to grow, and maybe I'll do this again next year. I try to add as many as I can to the collection each year. I was able to add a few this year, but yes, Tokyo Godfathers is another adaptation of that source material, and it's amazing. Instead of being set in a Western, it is about 3 homeless people in Tokyo who find this baby in a dumpster somewhere, and they try to go and figure out why it was there, figure out the mystery, and return it to its mother. And it's just an incredible movie. It's the same director of Perfect Blue and Paprika. He's an incredible director, and this is a beautiful movie. I was not expecting to be moved as much because it starts out kind of like a comedy and totally catches you off guard when it gets very serious and very moving at the end. And it is absolutely a Christmas movie. I think it takes place like on Christmas Eve. Don't quote me on that, but it does take place around Christmas time, and there's snow everywhere, and it's beautifully animated, and it's just a beautiful movie. Tokyo Godfathers, I can't recommend that one enough. That is probably one of the more unusual ones on the list, but I like to keep it eclectic. I like to get as many different kinds of Christmas movies on here because I know a lot of people get sick of watching Christmas movies. They think they're all the same, but I like to diversify and branch out and get as many different kinds of movies that I can watch in December, because I'm only watching Christmas movies in December, so I like to watch as many different kinds as I can. And that is it. That is the entire Christmas movie collection. It's over 50 at this point. I want to keep it going. There's still several big ones that I want to get. The Bishop's Wife is one that I really enjoyed. That's a Cary Grant movie. If you haven't seen it, great movie, but it is super hard to find on Blu-ray. It's like $50, going for like $50 at this point, so I haven't pulled the trigger on that one yet. There's a few other classics that I need to get my hands on, of course. Let me know in the comments which ones are your favorites, which ones you think need to be included in definitive Christmas movie collection, because I know there's some big ones out there that I don't have or didn't grow up with or just aren't my cup of tea. Throw out a top 10 in the comments of your favorite Christmas movies, because I'm always looking to add more to the collection. And thank you guys so much for watching this incredibly long video. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and watch plenty of Christmas movies this month. Until next time, keep collecting, and I'll be back with another video real soon.